to our podcast,
Mismatched.
We are two moms from completely different walks of life
who discovered friendship where least expected.
This is our space to share, connect, and try to survive this crazy thing we call life. Whatever you are doing,
or wherever you are headed, take Mismatched along for the ride.
I feel like I'm not sitting up straight.
It's just because I have such excellent posture.
No, I really do have really poor posture.
We just discussed that I have a very long torso.
I mean, I'm always like,
That's okay.
I have very poor posture. Okay. Hi.
Well, friends, we're in the final week before Christmas, and happy Hanukkah, Dana.
Thank you.
This is what, day 2 of Hanukkah?
This is day 2. We had all of our family over last night for dinner. It was nice.
Your potato pancakes are really good.
They were good. Yeah.
Tom's potato pancakes were good.
Yeah, Yeah.
You're a good teamwork. Like
He helped me a lot.
You have a good partnership.
So he was very, very helpful this year.
It's nice when you have a spouse that's very helpful.
He was quite helpful.
It's very good. I feel like we have another full lineup today. We do.
We had a lot to talk about.
We've had like a lot of things happening, and we've actually had like a couple requests, which has been fun for topics, and that's always nice when our listeners send us ideas.
Someone reached out, which I thought was so neat. So, like, if you guys have an idea,
let's talk about them. Things you want to hear us talk about.
I think that was really cool.
We were talking to one of our favorite preschool moms, and we have listeners of all different stages of life, and so that's kind of fun too. We have the grandmas, we have the moms, we have we're teenage moms now. We have preschool moms, infant moms. I don't know if any infant moms actually listen to us.
They might.
My sister still doesn't listen, in case anybody wondered.
No, we could really say some crazy things about her, and she wouldn't even know.
I'm trying to think what she's done lately that's kind of crazy. She still is not excited about the elf.
But has she embraced it? Like, is it happening?
Well, her elf does.
Watch what you say.
Her elf does spectacular things. See, I told her.
See, so she's embracing it. She's rolling with it.
Would be amazing.
Yeah, she's rolling with it.
Her elf is over the top. So listen to this. This is an idea for people. Like, maybe your elf is going to do this. Their elf brought gloves, special gloves that they could put on. So Archie could put on these gloves and he could touch his elf.
So I think that's really cool.
His name is Cotton Candy.
Okay, so I think that's awesome because we have a cousin who really struggles behaviorally sometimes. And the elf became this... Do you know who I'm talking about? Yeah. The elf, and I really thought this was so cool of her.
Tom should just be on the podcast because I feel like he's the
he knew who I was talking about just now.
Tom is always here.
The elf had become this point of contention because it was constantly just another reason for this poor kid to get in trouble. And it was just another reason for punishment.
Right.
And so it got to a point where they just weren't going to do it anymore. Yeah. And then it was sad for him because
he loved it.
Why doesn't the elf come to our house, right? And but some kids struggle with behavioral issues and things like that. And it's very easy to be like, well, why don't you just say no or whatever, but there's different types of issues.
And I thought that was a really good idea.
So she did something like that and she said, you know what? Our elf can be touched.
That's nice.
Maybe your elf can't.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Every elf is different.
And that was really cool. So I think that's
meant for the family that they get sent to.
That's right. I think that is so cool that your sister did that.
We had a special delivery from Santa Claus. Santa Claus came to see Parker. I think Santa Claus made a stop at your home.
Santa Claus did make a stop at our home.
Parker did have his surgery. Parker is doing great.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
So if you follow at Local Farm Mom, he has a red and green cast, and it's pretty darned and cool. The surgeon did his cast, which was even more special, and said he could have whatever cast he wanted.
I signed it.
It was nice. So all the moms have signed Parker's cast. He is like the coolest kid with the moms.
What's funny is Kristen really proved what punctuation does.
Oh, come on. You're not even reading into it right. I
so
did it
she
correctly.
wrote...
You're adding the punctuation.
No, there should have been punctuation.
No,
wrote...
there shouldn't have been.
What did you write? I don't even remember now.
I heart Parker, exclamation point with a little heart at the end. And then underneath it, I signed it, Mom.
Okay, so looks
if I put
like,
I
though...
heart Parker, apostrophe S, Mom... then I love Parker's mom.
It
but
looks
that's
like
not what
I love
said.
Parker's mom. At
It does
first,
not.
it looks like I love Parker's mom.
We'll add an apostrophe S, then we'll say Bill wrote it on his cast.
It does look like that.
But he's
doing well.
He got out of the house today for the first time, and he wanted to go straight to the market afterwards. And you saw him like hobble in, and he didn't hobble. He was like sprinting.
I think he was like running faster than anyone not on crutches.
Like Parker. And
he
then
could have run. He
scooter-
could have won a 3-legged race like
And
nobody's
the knee
business.
scooter, I'm like, literally, Parker, slow your roll.
You
like,
could definitely
slow your
tell
roll.
he was happy to be out of the house.
Yeah, he was. So he was very excited, and so he's doing better. I mean, he has 4 incisions. It was a major surgery. I feel like we haven't really like embraced totally that it was a pretty major surgery that we've kind of played down, and just so he didn't get too like worked up about it. But he's doing well. The incisions look good, and the surgery went well. And 3 more weeks in a cast, and then we'll see what it looks like.
It'll go quickly. It seems like 3 weeks is a long time.
Yeah, so he'll go back to school with it, and then he'll get it off.
Yeah.
So it's okay. He's doing well.
Good.
So I had a little incident this week.
You need to tell this story. Like, it's so good.
So, Parker's in a cast, and he's moved into our bed. So Bill's been on the couch, and actually we were like fighting over the couch because our couch is more comfortable than our bed. And Bill's like, believe me, I've got it on the couch. You're fine. So it's been nice because we haven't wanted to leave him alone just because of pain.
Of course.
And like going to the bathroom and things. So anyway, so I finally said, Parker, are you okay? Like, I'm going to go take a shower. I'm going to take a real fast shower. So I took a fast shower. And I have like a routine. So people who are into like essential oils, like Melaleuca tea tree oil, it's good for so many different things. Like even for like blemishes on your face, or just like it's got healing components. And I use it for razor burn. So I had shaved really quickly my bikini line. And in our house, we have this like little metal tray, and it has like my face lotions and my essential oils. And I've known that for months that the tea tree oil says oregano on the top of it, on the little label. So Bill had been out of town for a couple days, and I said, hey, he needed tea tree oil. I'm like, hey, it's the one that says oregano on top. And he's like, oh, okay, that's weird. So anyways, I take my shower, I shave. I don't like fractionate the Melaleuca. For me, I don't need to. So I just like put it all over my private parts, all over my girl parts, my bummy, everywhere. And all of a sudden it felt a little different. And
it didn't smell a little different?
Well, yes. Like, but I was, again, I'm going so fast, right? Because I like needed to check on Parker, right? I needed to make sure he was okay. And all of a sudden, I'm like, look at the label. Oh my gosh, I put oregano, the hottest, probably most potent oil, on all my private parts. Yeah. You know that like commercial Lumi, whatever?
Yes.
Like, deodorant for all your private parts? You do not want to put oregano on anything like not cut with coconut oil. I was crying. I'm wrapped in my towel, and I walk out in the living room looking at Bill, and Jack was there, and I'm like, what happened to my mouth? He's like, oh, I was going to tell you I switched the caps
back. Did he fail to mention that?
He forgot. But I mean, I should have read it. It was totally my fault. I did it. And Jack's like, what's going on? So he's like, she put oregano everywhere.
Where she shouldn't have.
And so anyways, it was really burny for a while. So Bill, we didn't have any coconut oil, so he went to get the olive oil. And I just held out my hand and sat on the bathtub and tried to dilute it. But I mean, it was the most fiery sensation
I feel bad
I've ever
because you should have called me. I have so much. I have like a weird amount
like
of
almost immediately it
coconut
cut
oil.
it. But can I just tell you the fire
I can't.
That was coming out of all the crevices in my underwear area.
So I'm not real into
pleasant.
essential oils, but maybe this is why.
Yeah, well, and it was a big mistake. But Parker kind of laughed because he said that I put, because oregano is really good for ear infection. So I always, add it to coconut oil, and then I will put it on a Q-tip in their ear if they have an ear problem. And one time it was a little too much. And Sam was like, Kristen, I heard about your oregano. I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody.
It was the talk of the town.
That's okay. I had an experience. My dad put it straight on my face, and my face burned. Stop. And then Bill put him in the shower. This is when he was little. And then, obviously heat opens up your pores even more. Sure. And so it made it even worse. And he, broke out in hives and a rash. I mean, I really didn't look to see if I broke out in hives and a rash.
You probably
but I
did.
Probably did.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's great. I have no razor burn.
If not hives, I guarantee at least a rash.
I've had no lasting. But there was one other time that I burned myself with frankincense on my face because I did one of those, I won't say, but like one of the beauty companies, like a higher end line, and I done the needle roller. And I needle rolled my face, and the dog.
What's a needle roller?
Oh my gosh, it was like amazing, like literally a roller that has needles.
Why?
And so it opens up all your pores, like it's really good for your skin. Mm-hmm. And I gave myself burns on my face, so maybe I should stop using the oils. I don't know. It was something. Oh, anyways, I'm all good. I'm all better. But it is Christmas, and so with Christmas comes gift buying, Hanukkah. Just a lot of extra stuff, but it's even like more interesting when there's love interests for these teenagers.
Oh,
like, what do you get your teenagers? Did you get JJ a gift?
I did.
Well, I said his name. Maybe I wasn't supposed to.
Oh yeah. So Olivia has a friend.
He's a very nice boy.
He really is. I'm
very particular.
Problem.
Like I give a pretty rough ride on like these teenage relationships.
No, but I really have like he's
nice
a sweet boy. I really have no issues.
He works at the market.
Yes.
He's a hard worker.
He's a good athlete. He's a good student. He's very polite.
He's cute.
He's just a sweet boy. Like I really have no issues at all.
Yeah.
But I did she went over there tonight and they were exchanging gifts.
You got him a gift.
I did. Like I sent over just a sweatshirt, like nothing over the top or anything. But I thought it would be nice to get him something.
That's nice. We got Sam's girlfriend.
Yeah.
A little gift.
Yeah. I mean, Sam's been dating for a long time though. Mm-hmm. Like Olivia hasn't been dating him for a long time, but
Sam's a senior, yeah.
Yeah, and he's much older, so it's more a bit more
out
serious.
Of college. Like she's not out of college.
Not out of college.
She's in college.
But so that's a bit more serious. This is not serious, but like it's her first real boyfriend, so we want to show that we're like supportive of her, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but so speaking of like boyfriends and girlfriends, like this has been kind of like a lot of new for us because like
it's been fun because I'm not going through this yet. Because my lovely daughter who said she wants a shout out. Campbell is like set in her ways. It's gonna take a special boy for her.
But that's okay. Yeah. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Parker has a few picked out, which we
for
won't
Campbell.
mention, but Parker has picked out boys that are on the approved list for Campbell.
So it's interesting because I want to be supportive and, show her that I trust her but at the same time I'm like, no. Like,
there's rules.
There's rules. And
regulations.
Another thing, and Tom and I had to talk about this the other night, another thing is setting a precedent, I think, is like just because things are okay.
By the time you get to Joey, you're going to be like, Joey, you have a girlfriend? Oh, great. Go ahead. Go to our house. Right. Is your mom going to cook you dinner? Even better.
See ya. Like,
bye.
Like, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. And so we're just like kind of.
Navigating.
We're navigating blindly. Very, very blindly.
We'll take all the support
because this is very new for us.
Well, we talked about curfews. I think I told you my philosophy on curfews. Sam did have a curfew, but we didn't start this with Sam. I'm gonna not make our kids have curfews. We tried it with Sam. I think it worked out actually okay that night. Was that you don't have a curfew? You just need to be home at a reasonable hour.
You decide.
So your child decides the reasonable hour. And the reasonable hour is determined by most times they're going to end up coming home earlier because they want the privilege to not have a curfew again. And the whole premise behind this is call. Like if you think...
So I think that's what the real big thing is. I would rather my kid be out all night long and I know where they are versus them be home at 10 o'clock and I have no clue where they were while they were gone. So,
or 10 o'clock and then they sneak back out when they really think they're there like you.
I did do that.
Yeah, we talked about it before.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's definitely, something to be said for giving
We're parents for a reason, and our job is to, like, make them productive adults. So there's going to be little hiccups along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning.
And so how you handle them.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but
none of us do. It's okay. Bill's got it all figured out, He's got it all figured out.
Comes out smelling like roses every time.
But so an interesting request that we got
for a topic. That's what made me think of it.
Is like dating. At what age is it actually okay to physically go on a date? When do you let your children drive other teenagers? When do you let your teenager drive in a car with another teenager? When do you let a boyfriend-girlfriend situation drive in a car together and have that alone time? These are all good questions.
So we did let Olivia go on a date. They went to round one, just the two of them. His parents drove them because obviously they're not old enough to drive.
Right.
So his parents drove them and we picked them up and it was just for a couple of hours during the day. I felt like it was okay. It was in a public place.
At a public place.
I don't really think that they're,
Like 360, you knew where they were
absolutely. And I really
there.
was
You had the
not
area surrounded with police officers.
100%. Like,
The SWAT
I
team
don't
was
really
there.
feel that there were major issues with that. Now that being said, then it takes the next level, like, because they're younger. So when they start driving, that opens up a whole other ball game. Like, would I be as comfortable and as confident as if and I am definitely going to experience this because Olivia is the youngest in her grade.
Yeah, so Campbell's going to turn 16.
Right. But now I said this, so,
You're like, I would never let her ride in a car with a new driver.
but she has.
She has with Sam.
She drives with Sam. She drives with your Sam all the time.
So she drives with our Sam when there's other people in the car.
There are.
But even
and
if
it's
it wasn't-
usually for shorter distances, which really speaks nothing if you think about it, because
Right.
most accidents happen closer to home. That's like a logistical
So I think there's a
fact.
couple levels here. One is the children, who the children are. And I guess you could say, like, oh, you don't trust me, Mom, like, to do this. Well, that's not it. You have my trust until you lose it. But I think, safety comes into play. I feel a lot about, like, Olivia's a girl, but like, we have a boy. And I feel like there's an immense amount of pressure and, like, scariness for boys, that like boys could be accused of lots of things.
Yes.
And I don't ever want them to be in an awkward situation that
and
would
be put
afford
into
them
that
the opportunity
circumstance. Sure.
to have that.
So for as
situation.
long as, our families have been friends, which was even before you and Bill were married, Sam was an older brother
Yeah.
figure to live. So I really have always felt that way, that
I'd
so
like
when
to say Sam's a good driver, but we've had our hiccups.
He's not.
He's not a good driver.
He's not.
He's not a bad driver.
He's not. He's had a couple incidents. I think that he is a very, actually, to be honest, I think he's a typical teenage driver.
Yeah, I think he's average.
I really don't think that he's a bad driver.
No.
I think that
I agree.
there have been a couple
If he was bad, we
circumstances.
wouldn't let the other kids.
Well, and that's just it. You're putting your
We
other
put all
kids
of
in
our
the
kids
car
in
with
his car
him.
to go to
exactly.
school. Yeah.
So right there, that speaks volumes. So I don't think he's a bad driver. I think there have been circumstances that were, one, not in his control, and I think the ones that were in his control were stupid mistakes that
Most of them were not on the road either. Let's just note.
no parking lots.
Private property.
Yeah, it's great.
If you don't know about accidents, just message me offline. I know all about them.
Right. But I think that, there is no right answer to that type of question.
I feel like there's a couple different scenarios, and trust is one. And I think just it's okay to say no to your kids.
So you're not always going to be the cool parent.
You're not. I'm totally fine with that. You're
I
gonna have a
struggle
harder
with
time
it.
with that.
I have always struggled with it.
I'm good with
you're
no.
fine with it.
You're not good with
I'm
no.
not okay
Bill's
with it.
not good with no.
No. Tom is more okay with it than I am.
Tom and I, of course, are on the same page.
Yes,
but
which
he
is
he
usually-
slides in with
he
you,
will-
which is good. It's good that
he
you guys
will
compromise
be-
to each other.
He is willing to go my way. I am a little bit willing to go his, not as often as he's willing to go
No,
mine.
he's more flexible.
He's
than
definitely
you.
more flexible than I am.
You're more rigid.
It's my way or the highway. I'll own it.
Yeah.
That's fine. I think that's okay.
So I feel like it's okay to say, you know what? You are going to not date one-on-one with your boyfriend in a car if you're not 16.
As a parent, if that's what you are comfortable with. So here
I
would
feel
be
as if
to
that's
like
totally okay.
to the person that asked us that question. I would honestly say, like, that's not something you can even ask someone else, because you are the only person that knows in your gut what you feel.
And I
with
think
that.
you know.
And you do know.
Yeah.
If you're asking, you probably
Yeah.
already know the answer to that.
And I feel like with Campbell, I'm like, heck no. I don't want her in a car with a boy.
No, but
Like, I
you
don't
may
wanna
feel
afford her this
completely different
situation.
in a year from now when she's the one
she'll be
driving.
16.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. When she's out on the road and
I'm
there's
going to make her pick up her boyfriend and take
and that's my
him home
point.
from school and drop him
I was
off.
actually just going to say
Yeah.
that. Is there a double standard to
Yeah,
that, though?
there shouldn't be.
But is there?
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, if it was the
Well, it's because
opposite way.
most girls date older boys.
But if it was the
boys
opposite
date
way, like
younger
Olivia has a
girls.
friend who right now is dating a boy that's a year younger. I won't say the name, but right now is dating a boy that's a year younger. So let's say that this like was 2 years from now.
Would
and
you
they
let
were-
your son?
So right,
You probably
so-
would.
So in that
And why?
situation, it's a completely double standard in that,
Yeah, that's true.
as are most things with boys and girls.
That's very
I feel
true.
like that the boys would be allowed to get into the car with another
I
girl.
want our children to make, wise decisions. And there's some things you can't take back. The first kiss, you can't take it back. But you're not really losing much on the first kiss, right?
I think the first kiss is not as big
It's
of a
pretty
deal as some
innocent.
other
There are
things that
other
are
things.
the first things, right?
Like
Right.
you know, other things that are far more important than the boys talk about and girls talk about, and then people get embarrassed. And those are all things that our kids are going to learn. Like we had to learn.
But
in this way.
unfortunately, well, that's just it. Unfortunately, we can't make those decisions for them.
Yeah.
You can only guide them as much as you can guide them
To make those good decisions.
And, you know that you're doing as best as you can for them.
We all
to
know
figure
that I'm
out.
very conservative in my views, and Campbell is, you know, not there yet, and so that's great.
Campbell's very conservative.
She is. She's a lot like your mother.
She's very much like you.
Yeah,
She's very much like you.
but she also has a wild side.
I don't agree with that.
You know she does. Like
I
she
don't
gets
agree.
loud and roaring.
She gets
and
like
wild
fun
and-
wild, but like I
Yeah.
don't. When push comes to shove, I think that if there were a group of kids that everything was going crazy and wild, she would be the first kid to be like, "Oh, okay, no, back out."
Calling
I'm calling
my
my
mom.
mom.
Code word.
Yes,
Code word.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Everybody have a code word. You all should have a code word.
We have a code word. I can't tell you what mine is right now because I don't want
And as
anyone
a
to hear
parent,
it,
I will
but
take the fall for my children every time.
Oh,
no matter
my God.
what they have done.
Let me, if
I'll
I
bail
can give
you
you
out.
one
Make
bit of
an
parenting
excuse.
advice, like be the bad guy.
My mom's making me come
You
home.
can fight about it later with your kids, but
Yeah.
be the bad guy for your kids. Like if they want to come home,
Go
get
get
them
'em.
home and say that it's your fault. Like don't make them be embarrassed in
We've
front of
always
their
told the kids, like, no matter what it is that they've done,
you're not in trouble
you're
right
not
now.
in trouble. We'll
Just-
come pick you
I
up.
will get
you
you.
call us. Don't
Yes.
call someone else.
We'll deal with it later.
And then the consequences can be dealt with later.
That's later, but
The
I just want
wrath.
you home safe. Like we're not,
Right,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
I promise you, like we are never going to deal with that right now.
I
So-
don't think we've answered any of the questions that were asked, but
No,
this
but
is
the
kind of where
question
we
that was
all
asked
are. We're
was,
all
what would you
talking
do?
about 'em.
The
Like,
question-
well, I would say no. I would not let my
And
child
I
ride
don't know that I would
in the
say no.
car.
I
You
would-
wouldn't. You would say it's okay.
I would say go with your gut. I would say honestly, if you know that the person that, because if you would say no, then that would be that Olivia wouldn't be driving in the car with Sam right now.
But this is a
Oh, a
this is
boyfriend. This is a
situation.
boyfriend.
Sam clearly is
But
not Olivia's
no, of course
boyfriend.
not. Of course not. But why? There has to be more to it then. So if you in your gut feel that it's not an appropriate thing, then you've got to go with your gut.
But I think it's like preserving the opportunity, like not providing the opportunity for something to happen. Like
Of course. So are you going to let them hang out in your basement alone? Are you going to let them hang out
heck no.
alone anywhere else?
They can hang out in the living room. Where I
Okay,
am.
so then you answer your own
That's great.
question,
Yeah.
right? So then you know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
If you're not going to let them hang out alone in your house, why are you going to let them hang out alone in a car?
Yeah.
Right? It's
That's
the same.
it. Oh my
it's the
gosh,
same
we're
thing.
so much over.
Yeah, we're over. We got to go.
Friends, Merry Christmas.
That was like flew
Happy
by. Like we didn't
Hanukkah.
even talk about anything. We have to talk next week.
Until next time, friends.
All right.
We're mismatched.
We're not even going to see anybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
I know, it's like crazy.
I know. We will be chatting and recording the next episode after Christmas, and next episode will be the last one of the year.
That's crazy.
That's exciting.
And then we can be like, I'll see you next year. Okay.
See you next year, Dana.
So lame.
I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Goodbye.
Until next time, friends. We're mismatched.
Bye, guys.